Hi everyone, my name is Macy and this is Mateo. And this week for Wellness Wednesday, we're going to be talking about midterm stress that's coming up.
Yeah, so midterms can be a really stressful time of the year, and that's why we like to, just give some tips. I believe I'm in my senior year here in my undergrad program, so by now I picked up a few tips and kind of ways just to get through certain things. The first one we did want to focus on today, or things that might come up. First of all, is just stress. For me, midterms always are stressful because they kind of just come out of nowhere. Like you start class and you're getting used to your new schedule, and then before you know it, you have to you pretty much at the halfway point of your semester by the time, and now it's like, oh, I have to go to school.
hmm
So for me, it's always a time where I get kind of like I stumble a little bit, but I always try to make sure I get myself on track. And so yeah, but I have man, this is like my fourth midterm season or seventh coming up. So I think I've had a couple good tricks to learn along the way too. So I'm happy to share them today.
hmm Yeah, I think for me, I kind of feel the same way. I always think when we do start talking about midterms, it's always like, wait, we haven't been here that long. Like, you can't be doing midterms yet. Be like, we just got here. I just moved in. Or like, I don't feel like I've like learned anything big yet to have a midterm. And it does just kind of like come out of nowhere. And I feel like that kind of sends me into like a spiral of stress because then I just like feel all out of sorts about like the timing and like how much I've learned, if I've learned enough, like if I'm ready or like prepared or anything like that. So I definitely get the timing part with that.
Mhm. Definitely. Like a couple of things that I always try to like do whenever I'm faced with all the stress too. One of them is remembering your why. For me, I'm a first generation college student. I came from a really tough background, and just being at college is an achievement for someone in my circumstance. So I always remember, why I came here, and honestly, is because someone a long time ago told me that I wasn't good. So now that I am, it's kind of like one thing that keeps me from, kind of losing track or kind of, a lot of the times when people come to college and they leave, they usually forget why they're there. They're just there. And I think it's important to remember why you came. I definitely came to improve my life. A lot of people come from other things like that, like adversity. Maybe they're coming for knowledge, people wanting, pursue a career, things like that. I definitely came for that as well to set myself up. So remembering why you came is really important. And it's just really healthy to always remind yourself of why you're, whether it's your family, things like that. It's always good to keep that base at your center in order to never really lose your way when you're kind of going through college.
Mm. Yeah. Do you feel like knowing your why helps you through like your midterm season and just that's kind of like your constant reminder to like keep going and be organized and things like that?
Yeah, honestly, like I call my mom every day. It's kind of embarrassing, but
No.
just her telling me that she's proud of me and that I'm exactly where I need to be, like that's all I need to hear to keep going,
hmm
honestly.
Yeah.
And one other thing too that I kind of saw with the whole stress thing is I feel a lot of times, especially if people are generation do this, where they like to minimize problems. Where you'll say, "Oh yeah, well that's due next week," or "Yeah, that I don't have a midterm in that class, but I have a paper due, but I'll do that last after my midterms or whatever."
Right.
And when we start to make problems small, we actually tend to forget about them. That's kind of why we do it. When in reality, something that I've learned to do is rationalize instead of minimize, where kind of take the work itself at face value, kind of eliminating the circumstances and what do you actually have to do.
Right.
Because a lot of time when we're stressed out about our workload is because we're ourselves just tired, and that's our own mental state. So like, take that second to check where you're at, but also understand like what do you really have to do that's left, like
hmm
what can you do today, and just worry about that. Don't worry about the test you have to do in a couple of days. What's your task for right now to get through the day? And I think doing that and taking a day at a time definitely helps you through that kind of 2 week crazy season where teachers actually start putting in their grades, and now your grades are what you actually know, and now you have to make up for some stuff. So definitely that like helped me out a lot. Was like I did a lot my freshman year where I just made problems small, and I forgot a lot of things. So doing like just rationalizing and saying that yeah, like the work has to get done, but it's gonna be okay. Is definitely a healthy thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think something that's helped me is, and something that I've learned pretty recently is like outlining what I do in that day and like tallying the amount of hours that like takes. So I'll go through like how many hours of class I'm in that day, or like I'll go
Mm-hmm.
through like my morning and like what time do I wake up? So like how much time do I spend sleeping? How much time do I spend like getting ready and like eating and like doing morning routine stuff, and then class, work, whatever else. If it's even if it's like how much time do I spend on my phone, or like how much time do I spend like doing random things on my computer or like watching Netflix or like maybe even not productive things and seeing how long that takes me because then in like times of stress, so like we're talking about midterms and like finals and this, so in times of stress, then if I can like visualize that, then I can see like what changes need to be made because I spent 6 hours on my phone when I definitely could have been doing like something else, like doing my homework. And so I feel like that kind of when I look at that, it's like a wake up call to be like, oh, wait, I'm feeling stressed because like I'm not using my time wisely. And like I have all this extra spare time where it's just like going out the door. So I need to like make some type of like routine changes so that I can get my work done so that I can be like prepared for midterms and things like that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I feel like I see the appeal of that too. You know, I was the kind of person where they told me very often, like when I was younger, like, oh, just pick up a planner. You know,
Yeah.
just write it down. And it's like for me, it's really hard to actually do that stuff. So, you know, for like sometimes when we're facing that workload heaviness and we're taking account of all those things and the hours and all stuff, it's always good to make time still for breaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of worrying about 3 or 4 misses you might have, just do one today.
Yeah.
You know, I can always kind of just find myself like getting weighed down by assignments, but then like essays, I've found a way around them. So like a lot of the times, you know, or when you come to college, depending on what major you do, you have to do a lot of essays. Like as a psych major, it's pretty much all we do is write essays. And you know, like learning how to outline first before you write, and that was hard for me because I'm the kind of person that just likes to write. So I'll just write an essay top to bottom sometimes and sit there for hours. But what I started doing when I had multiple essays to work on was just outlining them differently. So like
Yeah.
what I would do is basically make an outline, write my introduction, write my conclusion, and then when it comes to the body paragraphs, just putting the evidence in and then analyzing it. And
Mm-hmm.
essentially your essay is written, all you have to do is copy and paste and then format. So just creating that shift of like not actually physically sitting there and writing the paper, but just writing what you want to say and then just putting it in there helps a lot because then like when you're just doing it from like the top of your brain, that's when you're gonna make mistakes in your writing. You're gonna forget what you're writing about. I have done that often where I've written papers not knowing exactly what I was writing about
You're
because I was
just
gonna think
winging
until I did it.
it.
You know what I mean? And honestly, like I definitely could help myself a lot and save myself a lot of that stress if I had just taken the moment to really plan it out. Because I guess that's the important thing is to really have a plan when you're trying to handle your workload. Is to do what works for you. If you feel
Yeah.
like I need to take a break today, even like yesterday, I just had a non-productive day yesterday. I came home from work and I just sat down and I was like, you know what? It's Saturday. I think I'm just gonna relax. I think I've been worrying about these assignments. I'm just gonna sit down. I'm gonna go and then like honestly having that night to just play video games and kind of be a 21-year-old and just kind of goof off a little bit, even though it might not have been productive for those 6 hours that I wasn't actually working, I actually feel a lot better now. Because if I just stayed up till 11 last night after work doing assignments, I'd probably wake up right now and probably just be lazy today because I was tired from yesterday.
Yeah.
So, it was good to work those breaks in too.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think breaks get this like bad rap, like this bad misconception. And I think if you like have the intention of that they're breaks and it's not just like you're stopping your momentum, then they can be really helpful because it does kind of give you a break to just like process and kind of like regroup. And if you go, 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 then you can like run into things like burnout or I don't know, you can just get into like a bad mind space or like something else like that. And so, yeah, I think taking breaks can be a really good thing sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And especially, I feel like all of us, I think we've already like we mentioned this to like our supervisor before, like a lot of people right now are facing a lot of burnout just because, all of us have a really bad relationship with school right now because the last year and a half was tough. Our last school year was really hard on a lot of people. And it was a way of learning that we weren't experienced to. And then when summer came around, I think all of us wanted to be done with school. I think all of us were like, yeah, no, I'm done with Zoom class. And then now it's this in between thing where some of us do Zoom class, some of us don't, and it's trying to reacclimate to the pace of on campus, of on campus life, because it is faster than you think. Things happen quicker. People are a little bit, teachers are going to be a little bit more expectant of you to turn your deadlines, things like that. So, like when that tone switch, I think like people face a lot of burnout. And I think, that's just kind of where a lot of people get to in midterms normally is just burnout, especially like in the spring. But usually in the fall, though, we have a lot of new excitement for the school year. But like usually those first new midterms are so tough. But it's just remembering where you're at and where everyone else is at too, because you're not alone. I guess is what I was trying to say is that when you realize that everyone else is kind of burnt out too, it's very easy for both you guys to find a way to work together. If you ever find a friend who's burnt out too, you guys just go have dinner together, go hang out, and then say, hey, and then while you're talking, talk about your assignments and what you can do, and then you guys help each other. Definitely, like trying to just like think that your workload is just yours and no one else that can really help you with it is, kind of selling yourself short when you have people who want to support you, especially now.
Right. Yeah. I think knowing that you're not alone and doing your best to make study groups or make time for people who you're kind of in the same place with can be really beneficial, as well as taking breaks and things like that. But I think like what I get caught in is when I do take breaks, at least this is for me, then like the procrastination can kind of start, where I take a break and then I'm like, oh wait, this feels so good that I like don't want to get back to what I'm doing. Or if I'm like writing a paper, then I'll like be going and I'll be in a good groove and whatever, and then I'll take a break, I'll go outside or I'll go on my phone or whatever, and then I'll come back and be like, wait, this doesn't feel like it did like 20 minutes ago. And then I'll be like, okay, well, like it's only like 2 p.m. I still have like 4 more days to write this paper. Like, why don't I just do it tomorrow or the next day or something else like that? Knowing that I'm like not really gonna do it again. And like something that I've learned that it doesn't, I don't know, it's not supposed to like justify procrastination, but I think it makes me feel better about like why I do procrastinate, is knowing that like it comes from like this perfectionist tendency that I have. Because if I give myself less time to like do an assignment and I get like a grade that I'm not happy with, it's kind of like, okay, well, I only gave myself like 4 hours to write this paper and not like the total allotted amount of time that I was given. And so in that sense, like I did really well, like good job me.
I'm like, yeah, I definitely could have helped myself a lot with this paper if I had just not written it at 8 o'clock at night.
yeah, totally. And like life gets in the way and whatever. But I think it's good to keep in mind, like when you are taking breaks, to like set a time limit so that you're not just like there's no end and no beginning to what you're doing. Otherwise, I feel like then I get in the spiral of being like, it's okay, I'll do it later.
Yeah, definitely. Like when it comes to like focus procrastination, I definitely have a little bit of a different perspective on it just because from my experience. I actually have ADHD, and so procrastination has been like a theme in my life pretty much since the beginning. I've always had trouble getting tasks done. I've always forgotten about things. I have terrible working memory, and like I think when it comes to procrastination too, is what people don't always see is that your perception of time starts to like differ. So like for me personally, like in my experience, like in the difference that like people with ADHDs that were brains are wired is that they have a different sense of time where things either happen right now or they need to happen right now, or they don't have to happen at all. I very much sort my task into those two different baskets. It's like, do I have to do this directly right now to get it done, or can I just wait on it?
Right.
And that loop honestly is a reason why I've written a lot of those papers at 8 o'clock at night. And sometimes I get A on it. Maybe it's just because I luck out, but maybe maybe not. But like I definitely do feel like when it's that pressure situation, then sometimes it's like that's easier for me to work under because I already am used to making up for lost time, I guess. But yeah, I think like recently I messed up on a presentation for a professor and I forgot to give it. And I actually was just going to do it. I asked him, I was like, can I just talk? Can I just go? Let me do it.
Bring it.
And my professor, like she told me no. She was like, you can't, it's if you wing it, like you might miss some things. And part of me was like, no, this is like the best way I work. This is the best thing for me. Just
throw me
thrown into it and just do it because like, but also I think that's because I'm used to that loop of procrastination. And one thing that I've been trying to shift from is instead of worrying about getting everything done for the day, I kind of try to work off momentum and knowing when I'm productive. Like I'm usually super productive from like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Like for whatever reason, those hours I can get a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
And I'm awake and in a better mood. But usually after like 5 p.m., I want to play video games. I want to watch TV. I want to go listen to music. I kind of stop trying to be productive. But I know that for me, if I want to get stuff done, I have those hours to get done, and then I can carry the momentum. And like one thing that I've been working on is kind of going for the mindset of like might as well. whenever I do find myself like, oh, I'm gonna go clean the kitchen real quick, well, I might as well do the dishes, and then I might as well do my laundry, and then I'm already up, my shoes are on, might as well write a paper. And I find myself ending up doing more than I actually expect to or even mean to, just by just following that momentum and that gratification of getting those things done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if anyone else is feeling like that out there, like I definitely feel like I get you. It's tough to feel like you might be blaming yourself for it, but honestly, when it comes to that, don't beat yourself up. All I can say is that you can do it. Definitely, if I'm out here making it, everyone else can make it who's going with that too. So, just those are a couple of things that I tried to do from that, neurodivergent aspect of like, how can I adapt with the way that my mind works? And I think it's actually helped me a lot the past semester. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear it from an ADHD perspective. Do you feel like you need to change your environment a lot of times? Like, do you feel like if you stay in your house too long or if you stay on campus too long, you get kind of stuck in a rut? Because that's how I feel.
I don't know. I'm kind of a homebody, honestly. Like when the pandemic happened, I was kind of cool with it. I'm like, cool, yeah, man, tell me to stay inside for 2 months. I'm lit. But so for me, in the environment, actually, I feel like I work better when I'm at home and I'm relaxed because I don't have to worry about having to talk to people. I can just sit here at my computer and I can play music. And what I would say is find the environment that suits you best. If you feel like you work better, because there's a lot of people that do homework on Cougar Walk, and I don't really see the appeal of doing homework outside. I think that's a college thing that I missed out on. Or, or they want to read, or there are people reading textbooks and hammocks hanging off the trees and stuff. Like, I definitely see how that can work for people. Definitely not for me, but like, that's what I would say is find the environment that works for you. If you feel like you can't get work done because your roommate's at home and they're watching Squid Game and you don't know what to do, like go outside, go find a different place and go look for it. That's what I would say is go look for what makes you comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am someone who needs a change of scenery. Like I know, again, with the procrastination, like if I start to feel like unmotivated or something and I want to like push off an assignment, I probably just like need to get out of my apartment and go somewhere else, because then I don't know, it's kind of like if you see everyone else working, like if I were to go to a coffee shop, it's like, oh wait, like I can do this too. Like everyone else is kind of doing the same thing. And so I feel like for me that makes me motivated, just like a change of scenery. But I know for some people, like I can't do homework on Cougar Walk either. I feel like I'm just saying hi to everyone I see.
I would just talk to my friends like, hey, what's up, man? Like, and then like I got a paper there that's a paragraph in and just do it in 2 hours. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so I don't go there. So maybe no one go there for homework, but I do think the change of scenery for some people can be really helpful.
Honestly, the library is a really good place for some people. Like I've actually been there for a little bit, and people people actually don't know that you can request rooms to work in. At certain libraries, you can, especially at Marshford on East Campus, you can just ask, can I have a study room, or if you ever have a group project, you guys are working on something, instead of talking over Google Chat, go to the library and work together in the same room. And it's like, it's actually, when you have that isolated space where it's closed door, but it's not necessarily like where your bedroom is, it's actually, I find it is pretty easy to like, okay, no, I can actually do work. Right. Or even then to like, it's a real good place to work. And like those resources are things that like people don't really know about, but they kind of just find out you can do. Like I definitely just kind of walked in and someone was like, do you want a room? And I was like, I can do that.
I guess.
And then
it
was like my freshman year, and I'm like, I guess, yeah, but that was a resource that I definitely wasn't utilizing as much as I should have when I was on campus. It was definitely like kind of taking advantage of the environment around. There's also a lot of resources around you to help. If you feel like you need your paper to get checked out, there's a writing center.
Right.
If you feel like you might need some, if you're taking math courses, whoever, the physics major, STEM majors, if you have trouble, we also have math labs as well. There's a lot of places for you to go and find help. If you feel like if you need some help studying or, checking your paper, or if you feel a little guidance, there's a lot of advisors, counselors, things like that, counseling staff, shameless plug. But definitely there's a lot of resources around it for people to help you. And that was a kind of like my little happiness feels kind of towards the end of it. But basically how I always want to end these with a little bit of word of hope and healing. It's something that I kind of bring from my home church. And as you go into the stressful time, just remember to really ground yourself and take in the moment where you're at. Appreciate that, we're all of us are very blessed to be in the position we're in today. We're going to a great college who wants to support us. We have all these resources, and you're surrounded by people that love you. and that God loves you. I think that's very important to remember when you're going through tough times, is that your name is known to God.
Right.
And that you're not alone through it. And people know your name, people love you. And I think that's important to remember. And, remember to reward yourself too. Take time to relax. Take time to be, I'm going to go get in and out. I'm going to go eat Chick-fil-A at 10 o'clock at night. Go for it. Because those small experiences are the rewards for the hard work that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people think that the hard work is supposed to be the degree and the piece of paper, which that's a big reward. But the little ones that keep you going are those moments where you're just being a kid still.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's often as we're trying to be professionals, we're trying to be grown-ups, when definitely not all of us are ready. But as we're going to that, remembering that you can do it, and that it's okay to just be happy and to allow yourself and give yourself the room in your life to be happy, and that God wants that for you too. So, definitely as you're going through, remember to find that, that hope for your tomorrows and that healing from your yesterday, and just live through it, and definitely know that no one's alone in it.
Yeah, definitely give yourself grace for the space that you're in. I think that's super good. Well, thanks, Mateo. Thanks for talking to me about this topic.
Of course. Thank you.